If you look to your right, it says police are heroes. Everyone agrees. But clearly we're here today because we don't agree. To introduce myself, my name is Hannah. I am the lead organizer with Black Abolitionist Collective Ohio, and I am the co-executive director for Central Ohio Freedom Fund. We are here today. This is a national call to action for Columbus because we continue to ask, who is Columbus safe for? Safe for who? Who was it safe for? Because it wasn't safe for Micaiah. It wasn't safe for Henry Green. It wasn't safe for Jerron Thomas. It wasn't safe for Deontay Bell or Kareem Jones. Excuse me. And so many other families, Casey Goodson Jr., Andre Hill, Miles Jackson. So thank you all for coming out tonight. We have a lineup of speakers because Columbus has had enough. So first today we'll have Miss Tanya, the mother of Deontay Bell, and she will speak. And we have the son of Deontay Bell. He's 12 years old. His name is also Deontay. So I need y'all to make some noise and support this baby. Before I start hollering, say their names, we need to be mindful of who are really accountable. It didn't just start with the police. It started with our corrupt, systematic injustices. And so, as we sound like a broken record, asking for change, we need to demand that it starts from the top to the bottom in regards to accountability. Now, when I say Deontay Bell's name at this point in time, I could tell y'all my story over and over again, but I'll say it like this. Read it. It's written, it's public records, and if you really want to get to know how corrupt the police are, take time out and read for yourself and hold the officers and our elected officials accountable. We cannot keep asking for accountability and to do away with qualified immunity when the system is already aware of what's failing us. So therefore, for me, when I say his name, I mean Narofsky, the person who killed my son. Accountability. We want Basie, the second officer who shot my son. I want accountability. We're breathing life into those who have already left us, not like their names aren't important. But what's more important is that Officer Coy is still walking around. Meade is still walking around. So when you say their name for accountability and change, say the right names. Joyce Beatty should be held accountable because she could have changed things a long time ago. Shannon Harden, why you standing like this? I'm stretched like Jesus. Let's make some real change. Accountability don't start with our deceased children. They're gone. And they ain't coming back. They're aware of how this could be fixed. Now let's fix it. When we say their name after our children's name, that's what I mean. Hold them accountable. And that means all of our elected officials. We have new ones who are scared to do what they're supposed to do. We just put Yost in office. Now what? We just put Tayette, Is that our new Attorney General? Or prosecutor? All right, so say their names. Say who's supposed to make their change. Our children have paid the price twice. Because not only are they dead and gone, and we're heartbroken and alone, and we're saying their name repeatedly, and there still haven't been no change. Now, what they have done is gave us a binky to shut us up, because Micaiah's life did and do matter, but so does the system that could have done something before it got that far. So, do y'all want to keep sounding like a broken record? Or do y'all really want to hold them accountable for what it is that they're doing? The judge, the juror, the executor are all responsible for our children's law. I'm tired. And there's nothing like being tired. This is the next president. And I don't care what nobody say, of whatever organization he chooses to be the president of. And it doesn't have to be the United States to make the difference. Because as we see, we had a black president that didn't make much of a difference. I'm not saying it in regards to the efforts that he made, but my son's case sat on his desk. So if we want to make some real changes, let's stop. Let's stop and really think about who's really accountable for what. We keep putting them in office, but we're not saying their names. You don't know who killed my son because I never said it until today. And that's because they should be held accountable. So for those of us that have to get up here and say our children's name, let's change the narrative. Let's change the narrative, because the officers that are doing the dirt have a past too. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Are we going to hold them accountable? Are we going to keep on saying the same names and we're tired and enough is enough? Are you going to plant the seed of we're sick of you, Meade? Are you going to plant the seed because we're sick of you, Coy? So y'all on vacation and we're in hell. But while hell has no fury like a woman scorned, woo! I'm telling you now, I am Deontay Lamar Bell's mother. Basie and Narosky should be held accountable. And for those that put those officers in those positions should be held accountable. When y'all say their name, Mayor Ginther should be held accountable. We can go on and on, but I think that once we have the list and start putting them in the front, put them in the limelight, hold them accountable. That's where change comes. Start affecting their money. Start taking lead on what it is that we want. We keep demanding and they keep giving us, okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make an amendment to this policy that don't freaking affect us. At the end of the day, we all are the same. You're going to go 6 feet deep or in and earn, but we all are accountable. And it starts from the top, not just with a cop. Thank you. Thank you.
Make some noise for Miss Tanya Hudson. She is the mother of Deontay Bell. He was shot and killed in 2015, and she is still fighting for her baby. So if she's still fighting, that means we should still be fighting. So next we'll have Cole from the safety team, and she's going to give some instructions.
Hi Hi, y'all. Just real quick, we wanted to let you know we do have medics on staff here. They're going to be at the white tent, or we have a couple of stations that are around. Hydration, snack. Please, please, please make sure you're drinking lots of water. Sunscreen as well. This is a rally, so we will not be marching. So just so everyone's aware of that. And if you need help with anything or need someone to find, look for the red crossed people, and I'm getting a demonstration right here. This is what our medics look like. Our safety is marked with yellow. And yeah, the medic tent again is the white tent for there. Thanks all.
Thank you, Cole. So as Ms. Hudson stated, we are asking for accountability. So how do we approach that? We have a list of community demands. If my phone will open for me. There we go. So these are our current community demands. And you can also find them on the Black Abolitionist Collective Ohio Facebook page. We are asking for the immediate termination. Hold on. One second, please.
Who street? Who street? Who street? Who street? What do we want? When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. If we don't get it, 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 what do we want? Justice. What do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. What do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. What do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. What do we want it? Now. Indict, convict, send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system. I said indict, convict, send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Indict, convict, send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Ready? We good?
One mic.
One mic? One mic?
Thank you. Technical difficulties. All right, so these are our community demands. We are demanding the termination, arrest, and indictment of Jason Meade, Andrew Howe, and Nicholas Raridan for the murders of Casey Goodson Jr., Miles Jackson, and Micaiah Bryant. We are also asking for the revocation of the pensions of Jason Meade, Adam Coy, Andrew Howe, and Nicholas Raridan. We're asking for full transparency and accountability in investigations of the deaths of Casey Goodson Jr., Miles Jackson, and Micaiah Bryant by the hands of law enforcement. We are asking for Franklin County Sheriff and Columbus Division of Police to cover the funeral expenses of Casey Goodson Jr., Miles Jackson, and Micaiah Bryant. We are asking for the immediate resignation of Franklin County Sheriff Dallas Baldwin. We're asking for the immediate termination of Deputy Chief Quinlan because he was not fired, he was just demoted. So he's now a deputy chief. Fire Deputy Chief Quinlan in relation to his continued negligence in holding his officers accountable for murdering, terrorizing, and brutalizing the Black community and those who support them. We are asking for the immediate resignation of Mayor Andrew J. Ginther. Let me repeat that. We are asking for the immediate resignation of Mayor Andrew J. Ginther. We're asking for commitment from Franklin County Commissioners to divest from Franklin County Sheriff's Office. We're asking for commitment from Columbus City Council to divest from Columbus Police Department. And this is why we're also at the City Hall, because this is our City Hall. We're asking for a commitment from the Civilian Review Board to investigate and hold CPD accountable for their continued crimes against the Black community and those who support them. We are also asking for the Department of Justice to come to Columbus, Ohio, and investigate Columbus Police Department. The mayor wants a review. There's no more time for talking. There's no more time for meeting. Children are dying. Black children are dying. Ma'Khia Bryant should be here. Tyree King should be here. Julius Tate should be here. Andre Hill should be here. Casey Goodson Jr. should be here. Yet this city has continued to fail us in all systems. And this is why we're calling for abolition. And this is why we say abolish the system, because there's no such thing as reforming a system that works exactly as it was designed. Well, again, thank you all for coming out. Next, we will have Michelle Martin, who is attorney for the Ma'Khia Bryant family, and Miss Paula, and she is the mother of Ma'Khia Bryant. And we need to uplift this family and uplift that baby. So please, if you go to our Central Ohio Freedom Fund page, you will see the monetary flyer. Please continue to share that and donate to those Cash App and Venmo accounts, because community care is abolition. So please make some noise for attorney Michelle Martin and the mother of Ma'Khia Bryant, Miss Paula.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Michelle Martin. Thank you all for being here in support. I hate that we have to be here, of course, but I'm grateful to look out and see so many people in support, and I know that there's droves behind. So thank you, and we're not going to take up too much time. You guys know that we had the funeral services yesterday, so you know it's really, really emotional right now. And so, but it is the right platform because you guys are here, and I want to give Ms. Bryant an opportunity to share with you all who Ma'Khia is and was, so that you can take that narrative back. Because as they continue to villainize our babies, we have to really tell their stories. We have to tell who our children are. We have to keep them as children. So y'all need to hear her talk about her baby, not whatever y'all hearing in the news about whatever you hear that's contrary to the fact that this was a child who was murdered by our system and the people who were supposed to protect her. So I'm gonna let Ms. Paula talk about her baby.
Hello, my name is Paula Bryant, and I'm Ma'Khia Bryant's mother. I'm emotional wreck right now. I'm very devastated by her death, but her life mattered. My baby girl's life mattered, okay? And me and my children were caught up in the system. The system failed my baby girl. Ma'Khia Bryant's wishes was to come home to her loving mother that loved her. Excuse me.
Make some noise for Ma'Khia Bryant.
My baby girl was a very talented, sweet 16-year-old little girl. She did not deserve to die by that officer. My baby girl liked to do TikTok videos of hair tutorials. She was loving. She didn't have to die by the hands of that officer that shot her 4 times to the chest. He didn't give my baby an opportunity. My baby had a beautiful smile. She was loving. She had a beautiful personality. She was a protector. She had a motherly spirit about her. Ma'Khia protected her little brothers and sisters. this isn't right. I'm never going to stop saying Ma'Khia Bryant's name and that our story, our family story gets out there. I don't want her life that ended shortly to die. She's not going to die in vain. This system failed her and failed me. My baby was a Christian. She was loving and kind and smart. She was on honor roll. Her teachers loved her. I loved her. She helped everyone she encountered. She was smart, funny. She had a very humorous personality. She loved to make people laugh. Her favorite color was blue. That was my baby girl. I miss her so much. I appreciate the community needs to come together. Because this isn't right. Her life matters and other lives matter too. I'm going to continue to fight. We are continuing to fight for Ma'Khia and her wishes. Because her life mattered and her precious life was taken way too early. Thank you.
I want to read a letter that I wrote to Ma'Khia this morning, and I want to share with you all. Dear Ma'Khia, thank you for being a beautiful, vibrant, lovely girl. Thank you for not dimming your light because of those who are afraid of your shine. Thank you for showing us how to truly live and how to love. And what I mean by that is to fix this with all these people in their brilliant mind. But instead, we need to fix this with our heart. You've shown us through this glaring example of how our system is failing, continuing to fail us, and how we need to fix this now. You deserve to be back home with your mother. You didn't deserve to be ridiculed and made fun of, tearing down your self-esteem for over 24 hours before your death. You didn't deserve to be threatened, harmed, left unattended, hurt, and attacked. You didn't deserve to call out for help and for your cries to go unanswered, baby. You didn't deserve to be backed into a corner and told it was okay to stand your ground, right, Ohio? It's okay to stand your ground, right, unless you're Black. Is that what y'all telling her? But no. She was standing her ground as a baby against a grown woman and a jacked up system. A grown woman attacking this baby in a place she's supposed to be safe. We told you, Ma'Khia, that you were safe in your home. We told you that we will provide you with a safe home, didn't we? Oh, baby, you didn't deserve this. You didn't deserve to call for your grandmother, your foster mother, your father, your family for help, hoping that somebody could come and help you. You didn't deserve for your grandmother to be attacked and trying to help you stand your ground, right, Ohio? You didn't deserve for your little sister to call for help, asking for the police, get here now. But nah, he gonna leisurely get there. They responded to your cries leisurely, baby. But I hear your cries, Ma'Khia. We hear your cries, girl. The world hears your cries now. You didn't deserve for those cries to be unheard. You didn't deserve to be shot in the chest 4 times like an animal. Man, she ain't no beast. What's wrong with you? Listen, you didn't deserve to follow the laws of these here United States, right, by standing your ground. I'm going to continue to say that, y'all know why I'm saying it. Only to have a trained killer come into your neighborhood and fail to assess the situation and attempt to neutralize the problem. He became the problem. You deserve a true civil servant, baby. You deserve a true civil servant. You deserve for those cries you didn't deserve for your cries to go unheard. That was excessive. It was unnecessary. It was irresponsible, unskilled, callous, and cowardly. You didn't deserve to be villainized, little black girl. To have some people up the entire incident to blame you. They cowards. That's what that is, because you can't look ugly in the face. You can't be ugly and then turn a blind eye to it, America. This is what y'all created. No, baby, you didn't deserve a system that continues to fail you repeatedly, that continues to fail our black and brown people repeatedly. You deserve for those in positions of power and influence to know that your life matters. All these really smart people with all their data and statistics and studies recognizing all this failing system that governs your life. What did it help? What did it help? We need to do something now. You deserve for them to see you as their own child. To repair this system. This system is causing irreparable harm to our people. Oh, Micaiah, you deserve more. You deserve justice. You deserve better than this. And since we can't get justice to you, we're going to get it through you for us, for other black people, similarly situated, brown people, similarly situated, people with low socioeconomic income, similarly situated, people who need help from the public, similarly situated, right? And for all those, just like Micaiah, we are going to get justice for you. I'm talking about we ain't sleeping until we get justice for this baby. Thank you.
Say her name. I can't hear you. Say her name. Say her name. Say her name. 16. She was 16. 16. Again, thank you all for coming out today to support Columbus, Ohio, to support the families that are here and the families that were unable to make it, because all of their family members should be here. And police brutality is a human rights crisis, and that needs to be recognized. So next we will have Andrew, and he is from Columbus Socialist Alternative.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew. I'm with Socialist Alternative. We're an organization fighting to end all exploitation and oppression. And I've said this before, but I'm sick of having to stand up on a stage after more and more police murders, especially after 2 months ago when we saw increased attacks on Asian Americans as well. I'm sick of having to stand up here to fight against racism in our country. But I think it's also significant that we're here on May 1st, which is International Workers' Day. Most people recognize May Day as Labor Day because of a historical incident that happened between police and protesters in Chicago in 1886. When workers went on strike fighting for an 8-hour day, the police shot at them and they killed several of them and injured dozens more. And what this shows is that the police has always played a role of defending the status quo, of defending the position of power of the wealthiest people, and oppressing the most exploited workers. But there's another lesson we can draw from International Workers' Day. Despite the police violence at Haymarket Square, the striking workers were able to reduce their hours from 10 to 16 hours down to 8 to 10 hours. These concessions were won only because they had an organized struggle of tens of thousands of people who were able to shut down large sections of the economy to win real improvements to their standard of living. And I bring that up because this same power exists today. And it shows how we can grow the movement for Black lives and for Black liberation into one that wins deeper change than the meager reforms that our corporate politicians have tried to appease us with. The effort to unionize Amazon workers in Bessemer, Alabama points to an important direction. There, a majority of Black workers at Amazon fought to form a union to fight against unsafe working conditions, including rampant racism and sexism on the job. The recent statement of our own teachers union, Columbus Education Association, also points in this direction. As they point out, teachers often resolve conflicts between people without having to resort to force. So if our underpaid teachers who are working in underfunded schools can resolve these sorts of conflicts, then why can't we expect our police to do so without resorting to lethal violence? We need to be clear that it is only because of the massive uprisings for George Floyd last year that we've won anything. Without those uprisings, City Hall would never have bothered to tear down these racist statues of Christopher Columbus. They would have never bothered to pass even a watered-down civilian review board, and we would never have seen Derek Chauvin convicted and declared guilty. But we need to organize our coworkers, teachers, nurses, bus drivers, and warehouse workers, and delivery drivers to fight in solidarity with the struggle for Black lives. Because by going on strike and by getting working class power behind our movement, we can hit them where it hurts. We can stop their flow of profits and their money. We can't win real systemic change in the fight against racism without funding our schools, without healthcare for all, without improving our public transit, and without fighting for a green jobs program. Without drastically cutting our bloated police budget, taxing the rich, and allocating those funds towards working class communities, especially communities of color. And we also need to push back against the idea that politicians can solve these problems, or that we can sway the opinion of our elected officials through letter writing campaigns and phone calls. For months, Democratic politicians, from Mayor Ginther here in Columbus to Mayor Frey in Minneapolis, made empty promises and lip service paid to the Black Lives Matter movement. But they've done nothing to concretely address police violence and systemic racism. This reflects politics on a national level too, with Joe Biden immediately condemning rioting following the murder of Dante Wright, instead of focusing on the real issue of police violence. And that's because our corporate politicians are committed to preventing any fundamental change to our system. And it's this same lack of fundamental change that has led to the far right, to the rise of far right politics in the first place. It was broken promises of Democrats that led to the likes of Trump, as people looked for an alternative to a broken system. And this, of course, led to an increase in racist right-wing violence, from the racists who murdered Ahmaud Arbery to Kyle Rittenhouse to the increased attacks on Asians and Asian Americans throughout the pandemic. We need to build a broad, far-reaching working class movement against racism and the capitalist system that fuels it. And we need a new party that unambiguously represents all workers and oppressed people. We need a political alternative that unambiguously fights against racism, one that denounces police violence, not the anger of the protesters, and one that fights to create fundamental, lasting change in our society. It's only by building a mass, united, working class movement and fighting for an alternative to the establishment that we can win real change. So we need to call on all workers and unions to support the fight for Black lives, because our struggles are all caused by the same system. We need to prosecute the police, immediately indicting the officers involved in the shootings of Ma'Khia Bryant, Dante Wright, Adam Toledo, Miles Jackson, Casey Goodson, and too many others. We need to fight for community control of public safety. We need a real, democratically elected and accountable control of the police, not a watered down and appointed civilian review board. We need to disarm and demilitarize the police, ban the use of chemical and crowd dispersing weapons, and drop the charges against protesters, including Hunter Madden, and kill the anti-protest bills that are moving through our state house. We need to fund schools, housing, and jobs, not the police. We need to fight to defund the police by at least 50%, tax the rich, and allocate those funds towards quality public education, permanently affordable housing, and living wage green jobs. Because these are things that would do far more to improve the safety of working class communities and communities of color than funding the police. And finally, to win lasting change in a world that is free of this racist, violent police system, the fight against police racism and the political establishment needs to be expanded into a fight against the system, this profit-driven system itself. Justice for Miles Jackson, justice for Adam Toledo, justice for Dante Wright, and justice for Ma'Khia Bryant. Solidarity.
Who do you protect? Who do you serve? Who do you protect? Who do you serve? Who do you protect? Who do you serve? Who do you protect? Who do you serve?
Thank you so much, Andrew, from Columbus Socialist Alternative, for speaking. I wanted to uplift one thing he said. Mass mobilizations, they work. They work. That's why they are currently trying to pass anti-protest bills in the state of Ohio and in other states, because they want to stop the people from using our voice and our bodies to speak against injustice. And as I stated before, police brutality is a human rights crisis, and we are absolutely under attack. There's no more time for talk. It's about action. It's the right and it's our duty as the community to organize and organize in our communities and to mass mobilize across the nation in the name of justice, in the name of these families, to continue to support them, because the only thing they should be worried about is grieving and healing. So again, please donate to these families. You can find the monetary support flyers on Central Ohio Freedom page and also Black Abolitionist Collective of Ohio. And also there are butterflies being passed around. Micaiah loved butterflies. And that just shows how much of a child she was and how childlike. But the thing is that as Black girls and Black boys, they continue to adultify us and villainize us and sexualize us. And it's not okay. Micaiah Bryant was a 16-year-old child. Tyree King was a 13-year-old child. These are our babies being killed by the police. So next we will have Destiny, and she is an organizer out of Ohio State University. If you did not see it, they had a mass mobilization, and it was last week, and they took over Union Hall. And then they marched and took out over the street. It was about 500 people, students out there. So that shows that the community, when we come together, that's abolition. That's abolition, that's transformative justice, and this is what we're asking and demanding, because reform doesn't work. So without further ado, we welcome Destiny. She's going to graduate soon from OSU.
Hi, everyone. My name is Destiny. I'm a senior at Ohio State. We'll be graduating soon. But I just wanted to say that Ohio State students stand with local organizers and stand with the families as victims of police brutality and murders. And I just want to talk about previous attempts to sever ties with the Columbus Police Division that Ohio State students have taken. Last June, calls were made by over 20,000 students and community members to sever ties with CPD from OSU. Ohio State continues to partner with them. They continue to invest into the police, and that is it goes against the demands and the wants and desires of students, especially Black students at Ohio State. Last summer, when students came out and protested, they were brutalized. They were shot with rubber bullets and wooden bullets. They were pepper sprayed, tear gas, all of the above, and our university continued to stand by CPD. Even after 20,000 signatures circulated to sever ties with CPD. So I'm here again, almost a year later, to amplify those demands that we demand. We're not asking, we demand that Ohio State severs ties with CPD. On April 17th, there was something called Chit Fest on Chittenden Avenue, where a crowd of nearly 1,000 white students went out and partied for the spring game. But they didn't just party, they rioted. They vandalized cars for no reason. They were just drunk, vandalized cars. For hours, people were calling CPD to come and dismantle the crowd and get rid of the crowd because people's cars were being destroyed. For almost 4 hours, CPD did not respond because of some policy issues. And that was on April 17th. 3 days later, on April 20th, they went and murdered a 16-year-old girl. That was 3 days later. That just highlights the hypocrisy that they see crowds of 1,000 white students
actually committing vandalism and destruction. They couldn't do anything, but they went and murdered and shot this girl 4 times. So I'm standing here in solidarity with Ma'Khia Bryant's family to amplify their demands, to amplify local organizers' demands, to amplify our demands as Ohio State students to sever ties with CPD. Different student organizations such as the Undergraduate Student Government, the OUAB, Ohio Union Activities Board, Buckeye-thon, the NAACP, the Ohio State NPHC, and more student organizations are calling on the university to sever ties. After about a week of us occupying the student union and going into the streets, our president then decided to say something. And what she emailed us was the biggest slap in the face. We have been calling to sever ties with CPD, and our university president responded with only saying that they hear us about Ma'Khia Bryant, they hear us about our previous demands, but they will still continue to increase police presence on and off campus. It's not right at all. It's actually pissing me off, the amount of disrespect and ignorance that our university leadership has. After a summer of performative posts and emails about how they stand with Black students, they hear us, they want to commit to building an anti-racist institution, they continue to stand and partner and invest in CPD, which is completely opposite of what Black students are calling for on campus. We do not feel safe. We have never felt safe, and we especially don't feel safe now that we know that they are capable of continuing to murder children. CPD is tied, I believe, with the NYPD with murdering the most children in the country. That's quite the statistic, and Ohio State continues to stand by that and amplify that. That is not committing to an anti-racist institution, President Johnson. That is quite literally uplifting white supremacy to continue to amplify CPD, to continue to partner with them. So we're asking to sever all ties. And we as Ohio State students need to do more in the Columbus community. We have 50,000 students on that campus, and more of us should be out here. So I'm calling on my peers. I'm calling on my white peers. You are in proximity to white supremacy, and you need to be out here every day. So above all, I just want to say, Ohio State President Johnson, if you see this on the news, I don't want a dialogue. I'm tired of talking. I don't want a meeting. I don't want to be behind closed doors so you can gaslight me and ostracize me. I want you to listen to the dialogue of your students saying to sever ties with CPD. Thank you.
Black people matter here. Black people matter here. Black people matter here. Black people matter here.
Thank you, Deja. All right, thank y'all so much again for being out here today in support of Columbus families. Next, we have Ms. Carolyn Ruff. She's based out of Chicago, Illinois, and she's with Black Lives Matter Women of Faith. Please make some noise for Ms. Carolyn Ruff. Carolyn Ruff.
First of all, I would like to give honor to God. He's the head of my life. And he gives me the courage to stand up for our people, especially our brown and Black children that has been assassinated or executed by these KKK cops. I stand in solidarity with Mrs. Bryant to let her know that Chicago is with her and her family for Ma'Khia. Ma'Khia was shot right after Adam Toledo. Adam Toledo was only 13. Ma'Khia was 16. We're going to get justice for all of the children, young people that has been killed, that has been executed, that has been assassinated by these KKK cops. And yes, I say they are KKK because why? The KKK used to kill Black people back in the day, in the 60s. in white sheets. Now we got KK cops in blue uniform with badges. They are not above the law. If we don't get justice,
They don't get peace.
they don't get peace.
Yep.
If we don't get justice,
They don't get peace.
so I stand before you, Mrs. Price, to let you know that Messiah, I'm taking her name, and her name is in Chicago, that we're going to march. Chicago believe in marching. Just like George Floyd brother said, if it wasn't for the marchers, this would have been swept under the rug. They wouldn't have never known about George Floyd. So that's why we gotta keep on marching. We gotta keep on speaking out. Make your voices heard that you ain't taking it no more. Enough is enough. So I say to my sisters, I say to my brothers, I say to my white sisters and brothers, I say to my Asian sisters and brothers, I say to my brown sisters and brothers, I say to my yellow sisters and brothers, we gotta mobilize and come together and organize and march together to make them hear us. I am a 73-year-old woman. If I can stay in the street marching for all of these people that has been executed by these KKK cops, you all can mobilize and do the same thing. I'm going to say each one of these names and the dates that they were assassinated, if you don't mind. Michael Brown, Ferguson, Missouri, assassinated August 9th, 2014. If you notice, I wear McCloud McDonald on me no matter where I go. He was assassinated October 20th, 2014. But guess what? Killer cop Jason Van Dyke is in prison now for killing Laquan McDonald. Why? Because we stayed in the street. We had a voice and they heard us. You got to do the same thing for Micaiah. If I have to come back and forth to lead a march, I will do that because it's for Micaiah and all the other ones that have been executed here in Columbus, Ohio. Justin Howard, Zion, Illinois, April 4th, 2015. Alton Sterling, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, age 37, July 5th, 2016. Jamal Robertson, assassinated November 11th, 2018. Atataki Jefferson, assassinated October 12th, 2019. She was executed by this cop in her own house, along with her nephew, standing beside her, and they were only playing video games. Ahmaud Arbery, assassinated February 25th, 2020. Breonna Taylor, say her name. Say her name. Say her name. She was also assassinated March 13th. Deshaun McBride, Zion, Illinois, March 29th, 2020. George Floyd, say his name. George Floyd. Say his name. George Floyd. Say his name. George Floyd. May 25th, 2020. Joel Acevedo, Milwaukee. June 24th, 2020, and Jacob Blake, say his name. Say his name. Say his name. The inside of his body was assassinated. But he's here. But his body is gone. These two young men that we're fighting for now, Anthony Alvarez and Adams Toledo, we're going to get justice for them. They're trying to sweep it under the rug, but guess what? Chicago is known to get justice for people that has been executed by these KKK cops in blue uniforms. Thank you very much. Say their name. Say their name. You say which one? No, when I say their name, you say which one? Say their name. Say their name. Say their name. Say their name. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much, Miss Carolyn Ruff, for speaking and showing up in solidarity from Chicago, Illinois. Next, we will have Zach Usmani, and he's a local social worker.
As you've heard many times today, people have said community care is abolition. We keep us safe. I want to tell you about two stories from this week. On Tuesday, a resident of Alameda, California, called the police to report that a man was in the park near her, maskless, talking to himself. Police arrive and confront 26-year-old Mario Gonzalez, who has baskets full of empty bottles near him and appears impaired. They ask him about his drinking, they ask for his ID, and then they tell him to put his hands behind his back so they can handcuff him. When he resists, the cops drop him to the floor, put his face in the ground, put their knees on his backs, and put their hands on his backs for several minutes. After he goes quiet, they turn him over. They realize he has stopped breathing, begin CPR, but it was too late. The police had murdered Mario Gonzalez. On Wednesday night, a little bit of a different story. I was sitting in my living room when I heard a knock at the door. A woman with two black eyes was sobbing on my front porch. She was barefoot. I let her in, I listened, and I asked her what she needed. When she calmed down, she shared that her boyfriend, who lived nearby, had beaten her. She didn't have a phone, and her sister had borrowed her car, so she had no way to get away. She asked me to take her home, so I did. I started driving her home, and she was drunk, and I'm not sure if she had any way to get into her apartment. But when I asked if she could get in, she said she would be fine. When I dropped her off, I offered to walk her to her door, but she declined. I watched until she walked around to the other side of the building, and I couldn't see her anymore, and then I left. I don't know whether she made it inside. That left me feeling pretty uneasy, but there wasn't much I can do. When I say we keep us safe, we don't have to have all of the answers. We don't have to know what to do in every situation. I know that a lot of people feel very uneasy when they know that somebody's in need because they feel like they don't know what to do. They know they're going to encounter an unknown, and they know that the situation may not end well. The question doesn't have to be, will I be able to fix this situation? The question can be, can I help in some way? Or can I at least reduce harm? I don't know if that woman is okay, but I do know that the police did not end up murdering anyone that night. Some folks can't get fully on board with abolition because they think we need police for situations like domestic violence. There was a reason why that woman did not want police involvement. The National Center for Women in Policing says at least 40% of police officer families experience domestic violence. in contrast to 10% of the families in the general population. Note the passive language there. The National Domestic Violence Hotline did a survey which showed that 75% of domestic violence survivors who involved the police said at best they did not get help, and at worst it made the situation worse, and they felt personally harmed. Ma'Khia Bryant's sister called the police for help for Ma'Khia. Just like so many domestic violence survivors, the response she got was harmful. In her case, it was murder. If instead of police, a caring adult had stepped in and intervened, Ma'Khia would still be alive. Someone called the police on Mario Gonzalez. Most likely there was racism involved here, but even if we generously set that aside and say that they wanted him to get help, the result was murder. If instead a neighbor had just asked him, hey, are you okay? Do you need some water? Take a seat. Even though I'm a social worker and I do this in my professional life, it still makes me nervous each time I see something like that happening. When this woman showed up at my doorstep, I was scared. I did not know what to do, but I took a chance and I tried to help her. I know that it is scary for everyone because we feel like we don't know how to solve this problem. We don't know what to do. We're afraid of the tension. What if instead of calling the police on a noise complaint, you went and talked to your neighbor? How would you feel if your neighbor came to you and said, hey, my baby is trying to sleep. Can you keep it down tonight? I'd be far more likely to listen to that and turn my music down or whatever than if the police showed up at my door. We need to be taking care of each other. Abolition is community care. Stop calling the police. The police are not here to help. A national study on police training found that far and away the two largest categories of training that police receive in the academy, number one is firearms training. Number two is self-defense. The police are there to inflict violence and to protect themselves. They do not protect us. We protect us. You don't need all of the answers. You don't need to know all of the answers, but the response that you provide will be better than the pain, the hurt, and the death that happens daily at the hands of the police. Take a chance, try to help one another. Take those everyday abolitionist actions. Who keeps us safe? Who keeps us safe? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zach, for speaking. Next, we will have a Columbus and Nashville-based singer. Her name is Talisha Holmes. She has a beautiful voice, so I need y'all to make some noise for her. And we need to recognize that the movement also includes art. And Black joy is Black liberation. So please make some noise for Talisha Holmes.
I wrote this song a few years ago and didn't do anything with it. And then I thought, you know, it's not going to be very relevant down the road. It's called America. Ooh, America. America, people listen, America, America. Ooh, America. America. People, some people listen. America, 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 America. People on the street, people on the move in these times. Thoughts are running wild. No one doesn't know, and the feelings always show in these streets alone. Can we be a voice? It's convoluted, thick with agitation. I don't know how to deal with this damnation. Oh, America, 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 America. People listen, people listen. America, America. America, yeah, yeah, yeah. America, America, America. Ooh. Now, we think it's wrong to not belong, but then always peace and prosperity. Oh, I know I pledged allegiance, and I know I just want to go far away from this galaxy. If my freedom here is so much more than midnight, then why do I feel like I'm going crazy? Yeah. America, 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 America. America, America, America. America, 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 America. Listen, people. So we stay and fight to make it right. Fill up the streets with black and brown. Military police, kill and silence me. We've had enough. Burn this whole place down. We've tried to way to make our voices pleasing, but they laughed and hung our likenesses in effigy. Oh, America, America. Oh yeah, fill up the streets with black and brown. America, 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 America. No justice, no peace. For sure, we're gonna stand our ground. America, America, America. Hey, America, 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 America. America, America.
Let's give it up for our dear sister Talisha. And on those keys, BJ. I can't hear you, Columbus. I can't hear you, Columbus. No justice. No justice. No justice.
DJ Scott on the keys like Stevie out here. Okay. Thank you so much, Talisha Holmes and DJ Scott. Next we have Miss Deborah, and she is from Showing Up for Racial Justice, our Columbus chapter.
Thank you, Hannah. Showing up for racial justice, our role as white people, mobilizing white people to come out and follow the amazing leadership of our leaders of color and the families of those affected by violence. We join with the Black-led organizations in demanding action in solidarity with the families of those lost to police violence. We reject the false narrative that our broken systems, including but not limited to the police, are keeping any of us safe, and affirm that a safer world would be one free of racism. As white people, we have a role to play in protecting freedom of speech and protest, which is under attack, as well as ending racism. We need to be sure we do this work in a way that centers and supports the Black and Brown community members most impacted and harmed. The culture of whiteness which surrounds us and which rewards and benefits us can make it challenging for us to recognize the harm being done and to recognize how to create real and lasting change. So for that reason, we need to listen to these voices that we're hearing today and follow their direction. To those of you here who are white, use the messages that we're hearing. Commit to talking to other white people in our community about the harm of racism, the systems of white supremacism in our workplaces and our community organizations, and find ways to bring more white people in to work for the change that we're asking for. Here are some things that white people can do for Black, Indigenous, and people of our color in our community. Center the voices of leaders of color. Show up in support of events or requests from our leaders of color. Don't defend the police.
Ever.
That's right. Create a line of protection when asked to do so with our bodies between Black and Brown protesters and police. Leverage any privilege we have in support of those who are being harmed. And here's the really big ones and important ones, and something that we can do and we can ask our family members and our friends and our organizations to do. Move any white wealth to communities of color. Support Central Ohio Freedom Fund, the bail fund.
Yes.
I'm going to say that again. Support the Central Ohio Freedom Fund, which bails Black and Brown people out. We need that constantly. Support other Black-led organizations. Support Black-led organizers and all people of Black and Brown people in need. There's lots of ways that we can move our money to support them. When Black lives are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
That's right. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, Deborah, and thank you, Columbus, Showing Up for Racial Justice. We're standing in solidarity. Next, we will have Chana, and she is the sister of Jerron Thomas. Make some noise for Chana, please.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Chana. I'm the sister of Jerron Thomas. Can I see anybody's hands go in the air if you heard his name? That's pretty surprising because they tried to sweep my brother's murder under the rug. He was murdered in 2017 He called for help. So just like a lot of people are black and brown call for help and they call the police, they don't end up living. So they beat my brother to death on Martin Luther King Jr. weekend. And they told me that they didn't touch that boy when I called to ask them what happened and why does he have all these bruises on his body. So they tried to deny it. You know, they try to say they don't have anything to do with it, but they have everything to do with it. And it's too many officers' names to call out because it was too many officers that responded to someone in a mental health crisis. So I wanted to lift my brother's name up. I want to stand in solidarity with the community of involuntary mothers and involuntary family members that have lost their family due to the hands of these killer cops. And I just want to let you know that they tried to dismiss my brother's case, but we have such a strong case that that was not possible. So just keep us uplifted in prayer. And I appreciate the support, but we have our day in court coming very, very soon. And I'm going to need everybody's support behind me. And I just want you guys to know that you're doing the right things and standing for justice. And hopefully we can hold all these officers accountable for killing our family. Thank you.
Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets.
Jerron Thomas. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. So next we have Wook, and he is the lead organizer with the Downtowners.
I'm gonna start off by saying I do not want to be here. I'm tired of being here. I'm tired of being judged by what they think I might do. That's my whole life right there. I get judged on what people think I might do. They judge me by my hair. They judge me by my skin. It should not be fair. I'm not coming up here to bitch. I'm tired of coming out here to marching. I'm tired of coming out here and seeing everybody's faces. I'm tired of hearing these mothers' stories. So, this is all this is what it is here. I was a soldier. When the government kills its people, it's called state-sanctioned murder. It doesn't matter if they have a gun. We have the Second Amendment. That means you're allowed to have a gun. So I don't know why, if somebody has a gun, it's automatically a death sentence. But if I walk around here with an AR-15 and an American flag, they gonna let me do it. But if I'm in my hood and I can't call the police and I walk around strapped because that's how I survive, I'm a criminal. They want me to snitch on my friends and family. They have whole Facebook pages dedicated to saying survival crimes. People doing things to survive, to feed their family. But when they come to us, they want us to be held accountable for your neighbors, for people you don't even know. But when we come to them and ask for accountability for their job, there's no Facebook about that. They say it's their fault. They did it. It's their training. They relied on training. Fuck that training. The training is inadequate. Your tax dollars pay for the training. The interim chief said, this is why that baby was killed, because that is how his officers are trained. So that makes it justified. I don't care. I don't care. I want a complete review of the training. If that's what you said you're getting trained on, I don't like that training. As a taxpayer, I do not like that training. So many people come up here and I am fundamentally the opposite. I do not believe in abolishing the police. I do believe in defunding the police. And let me give you an example. They would have took some of that money and gave it to that overworked social worker, that baby would have been alive. She would have never had police contact. That's when we say defund, that's what we mean. When we have nowhere to go, when we have nowhere to shoot basketball, when we have nowhere to play pool, that's Columbus Parks and Recreation. When they don't have money to fund that, you're going to go to the streets and you're going to find what you can find to do. You're going to get bored. Everybody does that. It doesn't matter of your race or creed. Everybody wants to be different. Everybody wants to be heard. I get up here and speak because the Constitution allows me to speak. I'm not in no foreign country where they tell me if I do this, they're going to cut my hand off. You know what? I know what it is. If I'm do this, I'm going to get my hand cut off. But if I walk home with sandwiches, I can be killed. If I bring money to somebody, I can be killed. Where is that acceptable? Why do we keep saying, oh, please help us? Please help us. Fuck that. We are Americans, especially Black people. We should be uplifted. We came from nothing. We came from despair. We came from the worst thing you can imagine times 1,000,000. And look at us now. Look at us now. Be prideful in yourself. Stop taking knees in front of your oppressor. They don't care. Make them care. They care about their money. They care about their football team. They care about their little high street. You block that shit up. You stop that money. You give them a reason, even if it's a lie, a reason to care. I stand up here with my sisters and brothers because this is America. Right here, my hair, my skin, her skin, his skin, his skin, Americans, and start acting like it.
Thank you so much to the Tuluk and the Downtowners. Next, we have Brianna, and she is the founder of Justice for Black Girls, and they're based in the DMV area. Make some noise for Brianna from Justice for Black Girls, please.
Can someone say justice for Black girls? A little louder, justice for Black girls. Say it like our lives depend on it. Justice for Black girls. Ashe. When we say that, it's a mantra and a rallying call. We're acknowledging that our Black girls deserve so much better. I'm honored to be here today as the founder of Justice for Black Girls. We expand global knowledge of the ways US-based systems of power not just respond to, but perpetuate our abuse. What we know about Black girlhood is that we're over-policed and underprotected. What we know about Black girls is that we're adultified and criminalized. What we know about Black girls is that there's a complete erasure of Black girlhood. I'm heavy thinking about Aiyana Jones, a 7-year-old baby murdered by the state in her home. I'm heavy thinking about Ma'Khia Bryant, a 16-year-old baby removed out of her home by the state and then killed by the state. They told her she wasn't safe in her home and killed her still. Where can Black girls go if we can't be home? Where are Black girls protected if not in life and afterlife? I am exhausted and disgusted by the ways we have villainized this baby. Black girls are worthy of innocence. It's not a badge, it's innate. Black girls are worthy of protection by the mere fact that we have lungs. I'm gonna offer a few beautiful narratives about Ma'Khia because our world can't seem to do so. Her favorite color was blue. She loved butterflies. She earned an honorary diploma because she was so intelligent and so brilliant. Resist the notion that Black girls deserve anything other than love. You see, this work can't just respond to our trauma and death, but it must center our lives in the way that we live. We must not just protect Black girls, but we must love Black girls, and we must honor Black girls, and we must affirm Black girls, and we must center Black girls, and we must affirm Black girls, and we must listen to Black girls when they tell us that they're hurting. Black girls are not disposable. You cannot throw us away. Black girls are worthy of redemption. We're not irredeemable. Please plug into our work. You can follow us at Justice for Black Girls on Instagram. Love a Black girl today. Tell her she's worthy. Thank you for having me, Ashe.
Thank you so much, Brianna from Justice for Black Girls, for showing up today in solidarity with Columbus, Ohio, and our families. Next, we will have Attorney Sean Walton. Make some noise for Attorney Sean Walton, please. He's a civil rights lawyer. He represents a lot of the families who are directly affected by police violence.
Say his name, Casey Goodson. Say his name,
Casey Goodson.
There are few things more powerful than people united. And the power of the people is so much stronger than the people in power. Y'all don't hear me though? As we stand here together today, we can feel the energy in this city shifting. We can feel it. The Columbus Division of Police feel the power of the people. And the people will continue to be united until we have justice for all. Now, by now, you all have either heard about or read the opinion of Judge Marbley, the lawsuit that we have going against the city of Columbus on behalf of nonviolent protesters such as yourself. And as Judge Marbley pointed out, last summer, the Columbus police ran amok. They brutalized all of us that day. And the entire country saw that brutalization. And Judge Marbley issued an order that protects nonviolent protesters going forward. We can't forget the reason for those protests: the continued violence against Black and brown bodies in our communities at the hands of the Columbus Division of Police. We're holding them accountable. They're feeling our power, but we have to keep pushing. And that's why this week you guys also heard about the announcement of the Columbus Police Accountability Project. The Columbus Police Accountability Project is a coalition of Black-led, legal, faith, community, and movement leaders who are demanding an investigation of the Columbus Police by the Department of Justice. And that investigation is going to take place. We're not asking for a review as Mayor Ginther has. We're not asking for the DOJ to be a consultant to the city of Columbus, as former Mayor Coleman pointed out in the dispatch this week. The time is over for consultants, and the time is here for court order enforcement of our protection from the brutalization and the trauma inflicted upon us by the Columbus Division of Police. And that will happen. And it's not just a demand. We're also going to continue gathering testimony from people in the community across this city that have suffered from the terror and trauma inflicted upon our bodies by the Columbus Police. And so there's going to be public meetings where we gather that testimony. That information can be found at
www.c-pap.info. That accountability is happening in this city. The people of this city are demanding and establishing a culture where the Columbus police are held accountable for the crimes against our communities. Like my sister from Chicago said, Chicago, they've been getting justice for their people. But I believe in Columbus. And I believe that we will win. And so as we are holding the Columbus police accountable, that also means the Franklin County Sheriff's Office. The Franklin County Sheriff's Office is not exempt. If you have testimony about them, feel free to submit that as well, because they are on notice as well. While the DOJ is in Columbus, they can step on over to Dallas Baldwin's office. He can explain to all of us why Jason Meade is still employed. Because while we have this accountability taking place, and we're pushing for accountability in this city. We cannot change the culture of the Columbus police unless we continue to demand and ensure that we have justice for Casey Goodson Jr. Because as we stand here today, a murderer is still at large. Michael Jason Meade, murderer Michael Jason Meade, bragged about using police brutality in sermons because somehow he's a preacher. He believed that he could use the word of God to justify the violence against our communities. He bragged about being on the Franklin County Sheriff's Office's SWAT team, and that if him or his partners got into some kind of encounter against a citizen, they would all jump in, and they would take those days off and use it as a mini vacation. On December 4th, 2020, Jason Meade murdered Casey Goodson Jr. He's been on a long vacation since that day, and Sheriff Dallas Baldwin has allowed that vacation to take place.
That ain't right.
It's not right at all, and he has to be held accountable for that. And the power of the people is so much stronger than the people in power. And we will hold Dallas Baldwin accountable. Jason Meade will lose his job, and he will be arrested. And Sheriff Dallas Baldwin will still have to answer to us when it's time for re-election. But beyond that, many of you wonder why we still don't have justice for Casey. The Department of Justice has been leading this investigation, along with the Civil Rights Division of the DOJ in DC. And they have been doing their best to compile a case that truly showcases the fact that Casey Goodson Jr. was murdered. And they have the power to bring a federal hate crime charge against Jason Meade. And we'll hold them accountable to that. And at the same time, the Franklin County Prosecutor's Office, our new prosecutor, Gary Tyack, has the opportunity to present to a grand jury state murder charges against Michael Jason Meade. And because of the power of the people, we're going to use that power to ensure that Michael Jason Meade faces murder charges for the horrific crimes against Casey Goodson Jr. and that family that stands behind him.
Say his name. 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 Now make some noise for Casey Goodson. Make some noise for Casey Goodson.
There are few things more powerful than people united. This city is feeling the power of the people. Now let's make sure that the folks who have the ability to hold Jason Meade accountable do so, and that they charge that killer cop that is still at large, receiving our taxpayer dollars, that he is held accountable immediately. Justice for Casey Goodson Jr.
Next, we have the mother of Casey Goodson Jr. and his family stands behind her. So I need y'all to make some noise.
Hello, everyone. As y'all know, I'm Casey's mother, Pamela. You know, at this point, I'm frustrated. I really, with everything, as Sean stated, murderer Michael Jason Meade is still at large, because he's at large because he's a criminal. For murdering Casey. Casey was shot in his back 6 times. Casey was shot in his back 6 times for absolutely no reason at all. Let me clarify that. He was shot in the back 5 times, in his butt 1 time, going through his own door to his home for absolutely no reason at all. 5 months ago. 5 months and Jason Meade is still at home. 5 months and Jason Meade is still with his family. 5 months, Jason Meade is still with his kids. And for 5 months, well, 4.5 months, we've been visiting Casey at a cemetery. It's the only way I see my son. I'm not happy with it. Jason Meade, if it was one of us, we would have already been in jail. It wouldn't have been any questions about it. Jason Meade is nothing more than a thug with a badge and a gun. It's time that these city leaders, officials, including the mayor, the congresswoman, the city council, it's time that they step up and step in because they have the power and they need to use it, all of it. I mean, the DOJ is handling Casey's case. I'm pleased with the way they are handling the case. I'm not pleased with how long it's taking. Right. My patients are very thin because after the coroner's report dropped, then it's clear that my son was murdered. There's no question about it. You don't need no more evidence. The facts are in the coroner's report. It doesn't get truer than that. Dallas Baldwin, in my opinion, he's a Jason Meade. Him and Jason Meade, murderer Jason Meade, are one of the same, because if he wasn't sure whether or not his deputy murdered my son on March 17th, when the coroner's report dropped, it was clear. So that day, Meade should have been terminated. There's no reason why taxpayers, as myself, my family, you all, my lawyer and everybody, are paying Jason Meade to sit at home on his mini vacation. And his boss, Dallas Baldwin, allows it. Because Dallas Baldwin could terminate Jason Meade as of right now. But he refuses to, and he only gives me excuses, and he has refused to meet with me for 5 months now. You know, there's nothing more to say. I just ask that you guys keep pushing, keep standing together. The numbers to the DOJ, the different offices that need to be contacted are out there. Call them, blow them up, bring their phones off the hook. It's time that Jason Meade is held accountable for what he's done. He's been free long enough.
Fire Jason Meade! Fire Jason Meade! Fire Jason Meade! Fire Jason Meade! Fire Jason Meade!
And then after he's fired, indict him to fix him and throw him under the jail for the rest of his life, however long that may be.
Indict, convict, send those killer cops to jail.
The whole damn system is guilty as hell.
Indict, convict, send those killer cops to jail.
The whole damn system is guilty as hell.
I just want to thank you all for being out here. We will continue to push for justice for Casey. It's not a day that goes by that I'm not fighting somebody to get justice, no matter who it is. We won't stop. We ask y'all to continue. My family and I, we just thank you for the love and support.
Make some noise for Casey Goodson. Make some noise for Casey Goodson. Thank you so much to Attorney Sean Walton and the family of Casey Goodson Jr. for being here today. We want to continue to uplift and support the family of Casey Goodson Jr. So again, you can go to our page on Instagram, Black Abolitionist Collective of Ohio, and you will find the monetary flyer to support the family of Casey Goodson Jr. Next, we will have Miss Carla, and she is representing Ohio Families United Against Police Brutality.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. I stand here and I represent the families in Ohio as a collective. I don't represent one nor another. I represent them all. And I stand in solidarity with and for them. You heard Tanya Hudson earlier, who had a very powerful message. And I have to agree with what she said. We say the names, but we don't say the names of the killer cops. So therefore, you don't know who they are. You don't know if you're coming in contact. And even worse, you don't know how many bodies are on their names. I implore you to do your homework, learn those names, hold them accountable. But more importantly, hold your elected officials accountable. We've got a Black leadership in Columbus that should be sitting down somewhere, because what we do here is more than that they could ever do. They had a panel discussion this morning. Please explain to me how you have a panel discussion about police brutality, but you don't invite one mother or one family member to the table. So what I say is, if they don't give you a seat to the table, take your own damn seat to the table. Your voice needs to be heard, because we have too many names. If you see them, it's real. We have too many names that we continue to say. Too many names. And the families get left behind. I just heard somebody say today, wow, I heard my family member's name a few months ago, but nobody's saying it. So here's what our demands are for Ohio families. A, we say kill them damn killer cops. B, we say convict the killer cops. And C, we say reopen every case, not one or two, every case, because every last person who has died at the hands of the police deserves accountability. We'll never get justice, because justice would mean bringing them back. We can't do that. So we hold each and every last one of them accountable. It is your responsibility. It is my responsibility. It's Hannah's responsibility. It's Gither's responsibility. And when you sit down on your ass and you're not responsible, it's time to vote your ass out. Okay? Anytime you're the mayor of the city and you hold this big conference at East High School and you put before us two candidates for chief of police, and you already know what your position is. You already knew what you were going to do, but you made a mockery out of the Black people in Columbus by making us think that you cared enough to really bring somebody in who cared enough. And then you bring this fool in here who now you've asked him to step down. So that says a lot about his character, that you can't make a sound decision for your people in the city of Columbus. So at this point, we have to hold him accountable. I heard him say, have him resign, whatever. What I say is don't vote him back in. He's giving you the example of the type of work he does and what he doesn't mean to us. So don't vote him back in. I see souls for the polls. Y'all better get ready when it's time. We need to see y'all everywhere. We need to endorse a person who is worthy to represent the city of Columbus, who will hold CPD accountable for all of their actions, not just the murders, but the police brutality that came with it. Okay? We talked about Jerron Thomas today. He wasn't shot. He was beat to death. Okay? So don't get it twisted that everybody that has died at the hands of the police has been shot, because they haven't. So what I say is, if you were upset and pissed off about how you saw George Floyd with that knee on his neck, Columbus, Ohio, y'all better put y'all's damn knee on Ginther's neck. Thank you.
Make some noise in this house.
Make some noise for all of these families. I need you to make some more noise. So before I bring up the next speaker, I wanted to uplift the family of Deontay Bell. This mask. So this is the mother of Deontay Bell. This is her cash app.